Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Group Chat, #1 podcast in the world. We have always have special guests here. We have another really special one here today. A good friend of mine, Alex, came in. We're talking design. We're getting creative.
Big creatives.
Big creatives. We're talking about just the impact of design in general. And then Alex has had an amazing career that, some may say may have pushed him in the right direction.
We'll find out.
We'll find out. And then we talk about the Fed. Market's booming. Everything's back. Quarter basis point coming tomorrow. And then we'll see what happens.
Do we ban AI?
We definitely want to do ban AI. And then we also are talking about the big LAUSD strike that's coming. And we also are talking about the future of work. I think we know where we want to invest our money.
Mm-hmm.
It's a $1 million check, 10 million pre. A lot cheaper than YC. You're going to find out what it is. You don't need to go to Harvard or Stanford to get this money.
Yep.
You do need to have two arms.
You have to be handy.
You got to be handy. Let's get into it.
Cash.
Ladies and gentlemen, Group Chat.
Cash.
It's $1 trillion. Hot.
All right, Cathys, we are back with another episode of Group Chat. And kind of like Sunday where we had a Kathy come on and give us some great weight loss advice. By the way, he sent me his picture at American Ninja Warrior with him with his pink crop top. And, they had him wearing some salacious.
Interesting.
Yeah. They're definitely selling sex over there.
It's a network show, isn't it?
Yeah. He's an interesting outfit.
How'd he do?
I think I'll find out today because he was supposed to be last night.
Yeah, I know they do it in the middle of the night.
Yeah. So I'll text him today. I think it's Tuesday night. It was supposed to be Tuesday night.
So it might be like...
Yeah, I think there was maybe doing a dressing first. We have another Kathy here today who's actually a really old friend of mine. Alex Valdman's here. What up, Alex?
What's up?
How you been?
Good. It's good to be back in the 5-4 offices /ghost /reckless / this empire that y'all have created. It's been a joy to watch over the last almost 20 years.
20 years, yeah. So I've known Alex literally 20 years. We probably met at a trade show.
Magic.
Yeah.
Magic.
2000. You just came by the booth. I remember.
Yeah.
And you had a brand at the time.
I was thinking about starting one.
Okay.
But yeah, shortly after I met you guys, I started a brand
started a brand called Homeroom.
Homeroom.
What was streetwear?
Streetwear. Yeah, streetwear, but more cut and sew than printing on blanks.
Yeah. And that was at that time, how old were you?
22, 23.
22, 23. We met at the trade show and then we became friends and we had accounts in San Francisco. So I was there quite often. We'd hang out.
Yeah, big time.
And similarly, you would be in LA or we'd be at trade shows in Vegas and New York or whatever. And so we'd see each other and we stayed friends. And, this was a time when 5-4 was just starting out and struggling and going through its kind of trials and tribulations. And then finally in 05, 06, we started seeing a little bit of traction. I think that's around the same time. You were probably a year or two behind us, trying to figure out what to do.
Big time.
And we ended up having a conversation, which, we both vividly remember in San Francisco in person. And then,
at Kakari.
At Kakari.
The restaurant.
Amazing restaurant.
Yes, amazing restaurant.
Still is.
Yeah, it's still popping.
Still kicking.
Yeah, I felt like I went there with Neil maybe a year or two ago when I was up there. And I was, I'm all for entrepreneurship and being, going for it. But at certain times you have to make a call in your life, like what you want to do. And it's hard for people to walk away from something that you created. And, I think you were kind of going through that conversation in your head of what to do.
Oh yeah, it was 2009, early 2009.
Yeah.
Our sales went from pretty substantial. I mean, it was still 7 figures, but at the time it was substantial, to 6 figures.
Yeah.
And it wasn't necessarily the bookings, it was the accounts payable. People just weren't paying their bills.
Right. So for the young listeners, that's post financial crisis.
Yeah.
Like in the thick of it, pretty much.
Everyone basically stopped paying bills.
Yes. Because that was the only way you could survive.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't even pay bills. I didn't have money to pay the suppliers. I had to, be a good dude and try to put payment plans together. I'll pay you $3,000 every month for 10 years.
Yeah.
I've done that many times.
We got plenty of those.
And then this opportunity came up to work with Kanye, old Kanye.
Yeah.
Not anti-Semite Kanye. But I had that conversation with you. What should I do?
Yeah.
It's tough. I'm bleeding. Should I put the business down and take this opportunity? And you were like, fuck yeah, you should.
Yeah.
And that was the best advice I got up until that point in my life.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to let go of your baby, to say, put your baby down, put your dog down, whatever the analogy is. But it set me on a course that I never imagined at that point.
Yeah. And what's crazy is like, because I deal with so many specifically younger founders who are at this like crosshair of like some level of success, but still struggling to pay their bills, struggling to make ends meet. And I use this in my own career of how many times I probably would have been better off just taking a job and not going down this path, right? And I struggle with that still to this day. Like, did I make the right decision? Financially, I'll never know, but from an experience wise, I would never trade it. Like being an entrepreneur and the people I've met obviously is priceless. But it's really hard, and it's easy for me to sit there and tell you, yeah, you should shut it down. You should go get a paycheck and really go for it. But I think to me, I like my perspective of you was always like very creative person, and you can't be creative when you're worried about paying bills. Right? It's fucking impossible.
Definitely.
It's too stressful. It's too hard. So you're not actually even being able to extract your talent because you're so worried about like paying the most basic bill.
Totally.
And
there's creative anxiety, which is good. And then there's cash flow anxiety, which is the mother of all anxieties.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing worse than that. That's basically why I drink so much tequila. And I think, and at that time, Kanye was the biggest thing in the world. I mean, still shockingly 15 years later, still is. And I knew that would be like just being an outsider. You knew that was going to change the trajectory of your career.
Yeah.
And you go on to go work there. How long did you end up staying there?
It was 2009, from beginning 2009 until the Taylor Swift situation where the office got shut down right afterwards.
What year was that?
That was 2009. So it was beginning
so
2000.
Literally 1 year.
Yeah.
Start to finish.
Start to finish, in and out.
That was the
quick.
office on Fairfax.
Yeah.
And how involved was he?
Super involved. Kanye's work ethic, 7 days a week, nonstop. First one in the office, last one to leave.
And then where do you go after that?
So I had a blog. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah.
My organic marketing was a blog that I would update every single day.
Yeah.
And the premise of the blog was, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm starting a business, but I'm going to document every single day, people I meet, things that I learn. And it had a little subscription, RSS feed. And I wrote on that blog, hey, the Kanye thing is shutting down on Levi's. Someone at Levi's was reading the blog and they invited me in to have a conversation with the whole design team. And they put me on. And the director, while I was there, my first month, the director was gone. The senior designer was gone. The designer was gone. So here I am by myself overseeing the conventionals business, which is everything from 501, 514, 511. And I start thinking about, okay, Levi's is a workwear brand. They lost, I think, $4 billion marketplace to 7 at that time. True Religion, the premium denim market, just wiped $4 billion off the books for Levi's over the course of 10 years. So they wanted to get back to it. So that was kind of the brief. Let's get back to growth and the status. So the idea was, all right, we're a workwear brand. That's what we're working with. Well, the classism of blue collar workers and white collar workers is gone. And now the way people are getting to work is what's important. So I started this product range with the team called the Commuter Series. And that went from 0 to 250 million in 12 months.
Wow.
And a lot of times we think about what's the most commercial. It's the right price at the right place, and based on a trend. But sometimes when you just innovate, when you see a hole that currently is empty, a white space, and it could be as simple as something that's under your nose. You take menswear and you put it in performance fabrics, and that felt new at that time. That felt fresh.
Yeah.
And that philosophy carried me for 8 to 10 years of my career, of being able to innovate in that space, taking menswear and performance fabrics and truly building unique products that grew organically, that didn't need, big advertising budgets or even advertising budgets at all.
And then how long were you at Levi's?
I was there 2.5 years.
Okay. So quick stint,
but when you're doing
Impactful.
14-hour days for 2.5 years, it's more like 4 years.
Yeah. And then where'd you go?
I got bored with fashion at that time. I thought about it in a very idealistic sense. I was 29 years old or 28 years old. And I felt like with fashion, we were creating voids every single season in people's lives and then trying to fill it with the next collection. And there had to be a better, more sustainable way of doing it. And I wanted to take a pause and reflect. So I thought about, why don't I focus on industrial design and understand that world, understand footwear better. And I got the opportunity to go to this little unknown company, but they were going to give me the opportunity to sit between this guy, Steve Swatchendruber, who was the developer along Tinker from Jordan 2 or 3 through 13. And this guy named Scott Thomas, that was one of the industrial designers on the space shuttle.
Wow.
So, okay, here's an opportunity for me to build my skill set, to really round myself out. Plus, they were going to let me work on the creative of the brand side and the marketing side. So I would get closer to where I started, which is product and marketing. And that business went from being stagnant to growing 15% year on year. We just totally flipped the image, the product line.
What does
innovated.
industrial design mean?
So if you look at these microphones, they were designed by an industrial designer. Footwear designers used to come from industrial design schools. So schools that would teach you transportation design, objects, and footwear, because there's so many components and the manufacturing engineering of it's so complicated. Being an apparel designer or graphic designer, it's impossible to really think about the needs of the athlete or the needs of the user. So industrial design really teaches you how to be the customer, become the customer, embody them.
Like Braun, the brand, is like embodies.
The shaving.
Yeah,
Right.
but there's all the
Yeah,
products
yeah.
they built. Or Dyson. These are like kind of industrial design masterpieces.
Totally. Everything in this room has been touched by an industrial designer.
Apple products.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Heavy.
This phone
Yes.
might be the industrial design Hall of Fame,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, like Steve Jobs is heavily influenced by like Braun and those types of.
Yeah, Dieter
Yeah.
at Braun.
Yeah.
Big
like,
time.
That was a big fundamental. It's like simplicity was like so much of that kind of philosophy. And what was the name of this brand?
It was called Giro.
Yeah.
And it was an experience of taking something that was stagnant and trying to relaunch it, get it to accelerate again without a different budget. And what I learned was that it's not necessarily about marketing it better. It's about just making stuff that actually people need that they didn't know they need. So for example, we did a cycling shoe, and instead of doing 3 Velcro straps, which is what the industry had been doing for 20 years, let's put shoelaces in it. So instead of 3 points of contact, you could have 7 points of contact, which gives you a better fit. And the whole industry thought it was crazy.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing? That's not technology. That's not tech. And then people started winning the Giro d'Italia in them. And all of a sudden, it just reframed.
So Giro was a cycling brand.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, I mean, the reason I chose cycling as something to focus on was because A, it's better for the environment. I didn't feel like I was creating a void in people's lives. I was actually promoting a better way to ride, a better way to stay healthy, to make friendships, to build communities. Overall, just better for the environment. And this idea of taking menswear into performance fabrics and changing the uniform of speed, I was obsessed with. I wanted to make cycling relevant because it was irrelevant. You remember, 2005?
Yeah.
People would throw bottles at cyclists when they
I
would
still
drive
do.
by.
No, I thought you moved on to scooters.
But yeah, I mean, if you think about how big cycling is now,
$48 billion industry.
that's insane. It is a rich man sport though,
For sure.
right? Where'd you go after Giro?
So Rafa reached out, which was a pretty small business.
That's
at that
a
time.
men's performance cycling brand. How do you describe that?
Rafa is a luxury lifestyle brand based on the community that it's fostered. And it's primarily rooted in honoring the sport of racing. Really beautiful brand. Simon is a mentor, one of the smartest brand people in the world. And in my mind, okay, I understood design. I wanted to understand brand building from him. And we partnered together, and the business was, I think when I joined, about 16 million pounds, had a very small team. I think when I joined, my team was 4 people. By the time 6 years in, it was 70 people. It was product design, industrial design, the atelier, development, product strategy, the brand design studio. And I'm probably missing a couple of departments. But what I'm saying is that we grew it from nothing into a pretty substantial culture that was able to change what cycling meant to people through beautiful content, through products that were detailed that allowed you to perform better, to stay warmer, but in lighter weight products, to stay cooler in the hottest days. Yeah. And it was really the content that inspired millions of people to start writing. But it was all underpinned by a community that was done through a network of retail stores. Yeah. And at that time I think we went from 2 stores to 25 stores. Wow. And we built an app to help people meet each other for different rides. And when you look back at it, how far it's gone really far because of those retail locations. Yeah. Because all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, this year we facilitated over 100,000 rides through the app.
That's insane. Rafa's community has always been like its biggest strength. It's, people who are obviously wear that brand. It's like, there's probably different, maybe what Hoka is in running and things like that. In the marketing hall of fame of building loyalty and community, there's Harley Davidson and Rafa. There's no one else. Oh, interesting. That's based on the data. When you look at the various different factors, you look at participation, you look at dwell time, you look at repeat customers, LTV. Yeah. 50% of your cohort comes back to you every single year, dating back to the beginning of the company. Yeah. That's pretty insane. Yeah, that is insane. And then that business got acquired.
Yes. We got acquired by Tom and Stu Walton about 4 years in. That's my journey.
Sam's relatives.
Yes. Yes. Sam's relatives.
And so I've heard that in Bentonville, cycling is like the biggest thing.
It is incredible. They've built, I think at this point, probably 2,000 miles of trails, of mountain bike trails that all end at the square or end at a pub or end at a restaurant.
So Sam is Walmart.
Yes, for those who can't figure it out. And I assume they're like avid cyclists.
Insane. They're so passionate about it. That's why it felt like they were the right people to help take the brand further and to reach more people. Yeah. Those dudes are fun to ride with. They're fun to hang out with.
Yeah, I'm sure.
They love the sport. And, when you have 1 or 2 things in common with somebody, you could build and foster, real meaningful friendships. And through those relationships, there's a lot that you can achieve.
So they're biking to their private plane.
No comment.
So do you have Broncos field passes whenever you want?
No, I don't know what Broncos field pass is.
No, they bought the Broncos, the Walton family, the Denver Broncos.
Oh.
Okay. How close are you with that?
Well, there's also the Avalanche. And
there's a lot of teams.
There's a lot of teams. Okay.
The Rams.
I thought you were talking about Ford Broncos. They bought all these Ford Broncos. Yeah, they have a couple of football clubs too. Yeah. That's European football. Yeah. I'm not going to talk about them.
And then where did you go after that?
So this opportunity came up to avoid COVID. Yeah. Because we're in London and that was 6 winters in. It was deep. COVID happened and I wanted to be back in Cali, get back home, get closer to family. And the opportunity to go to Allbirds and help take them public came up. Yeah. And I was recruited by them. It looked like an amazing opportunity to learn something. I've been through an acquisition. I've never taken a company public at that point. Yeah. And so here I was on the ground floor thinking about how do we take this company public in the most sustainable way? And how do we, instead of creating an initial public offering, create a sustainable public offering? that was within the guise of ESG, but we all know if you look at the way the ESG ratings are, Shell is the greenest company in the world because it's based on offsets, not what you produce. So it was an opportunity to reframe the financial world's view of what a sustainable public offering is.
And yeah, I mean, that obviously must have been a crazy roller coaster of an experience, just because of just the highs, the lows, the going public, then the markets, obviously having such a massive impact. But
still a roller coaster. Have you seen the stock price today?
Everyone's stock price. Don't feel bad.
But yeah, I mean, I think like anyone who went public in the last 2 years is feeling the pain of that. What's interesting is, similar to a lot of the brands you've worked on, Allbirds to this day still has this very cult-like loyal following, and it's clearly resonated with the brand. Like, I think one of the things you just said is like how important product is. We can argue about what they did outside of shoes, whether it was the right thing or not, but like the idea that like you can build a product that actually connects with people, and that's enough. Because I bet you early on in Allbirds, they didn't have to spend money on marketing. I think the product actually connected with people.
The organic marketing was insane.
Insane, right? It's just that, once you have venture come into it, then the expectations become much different. Because if you're taking money from venture, then they want venture returns. And not to say that Allbirds can't deliver that, but in the time frame to physically build and make products just takes a bit longer. But it's doable. Like Nike, Lululemon, these are the most valuable companies on earth. So it's definitely possible. It's just that venture puts the time frame to be condensed, that it's not realistic in their time constraints.
Yeah, it seems like venture's used to tech scalability as far as timeline goes. And apparel, this, it's so hard to scale because that means you have to move factories. You have to change everything about your business model to scale that quick. And, it's always the question, hypothetical numbers, would you rather own 10% of $1 billion or 100% of whatever the equivalent to that is, right?
Yeah, 100 million,
yeah. And so, sorry, I'm still hungover from last night, D. I'm not switched on today, but thank you. And, it just comes down to what's your preference in the way that you want to operate your business.
Yeah.
Do you want to spend 50% of your time making reports for the board? Or do you want to spend that 50% optimizing your product so then you can have organic marketing?
Yeah.
I was on a board seat with this guy named Ralph Toledano, who was the old CEO of Chloe, hired Stella McCartney, Phoebe Philo. He worked with Karl Lagerfeld as well. And he said to me something that changed my American definition of what commercial product is. He said, the most commercial is the most desirable. And, we've been in enough rooms where when we talk about what's the most commercial, it's like, well, let's make, something that has the largest TAM that everyone already has in their closet, but let's make it a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool, but you're gonna spend all your money on advertising when you could actually make the product better and make the margin maybe a little bit higher and actually make it cut through and not really try to compete at the lowest level.
Well, I think that's the big thing about product development that people don't appreciate is that, like, the best example is the iPhone. Is that, did we know we needed an iPhone when it was created? Like, even take what the iPod was. Like, did everyone thought, I remember vividly when iPod came, why do I need 5,000 songs in my palm of my hand? And in hindsight, everyone's like, oh yeah, that made sense. But like at that time, the idea of like, why do you just listen to the radio if you need more music? But like, understanding that you can actually create something new out of like a new market out of product is very rarely looked at. Instead, people just look at it like, in footwear, it's done all the time. Like, people are so broad. They're just trying to make shoes for everybody, and you don't connect with anybody.
Totally.
And like, then, there's a thing, I think we're going to talk about it today, but like, they're talking about all these new footwear brands that have broken through. Let's take like Noble, for example. If you had said, I'm going to build a CrossFit shoe, no one would have thought that was a good idea, but it's broken through. It's broken through in a mega way with the American consumer. And now people wear it that aren't in CrossFit. But, it's just starting with like an actual, like, make great product for somebody. And I think that's a rare thing these days.
Yeah. It feels like there's been a trend where people have realized that recently of, okay, let's not go after the biggest market. Let's go after the most niche market and own 50% of that market.
Yeah.
Rather than 1% of the biggest market in the world.
Yeah. I think what happened is it became so easy to make products and launch websites, right? Like how many people are selling a basic t-shirt on Shopify? Men's, women's basics. 1 million? Literally 1 million people. Right. The best t-shirt, the best this. It's impossible to break through with that. It's like, you can't touch it. You can't feel it. You can't try it. And you want me to make a purchasing decision. And so it's really, really tough to break through when you're not telling a product story that's unique.
No. And it's really difficult to gain an insight. Those insights come maybe 5 times in a lifetime that you could build an entire market off the back of. Yeah. I mean, you just had a great insight from a conversation yesterday with Ghost.
Yeah.
How did no one else figure this out?
Yeah.
It's so needed.
Yeah. It's crazy. And it's just standing in front of you.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of great businesses and ideas like that. You know, that when you start thinking through, like, to me, Airbnb is such a great example of like, how did no one ever aggregate all the homes where people could rent? Because people were renting homes. It was just a painful process. And I think there's so many businesses like that are so obvious that just takes time.
And there's so many more that we haven't thought of.
So many more, especially.
That's why like everyone thinks, oh, every idea is taken. No, you just dig deeper. You could pretty much disrupt
anything,
everything.
Yeah, and everything's up for grabs.
Like no one, Airbnb obviously to a large extent did real estate, but think about who the owners of commercial buildings are. It's the same people still.
Yeah,
that hasn't been disrupted.
Yeah, everything from real estate to insurance to there's so many.
Why does Blackstone own all the single family homes in the country?
Yeah,
one firm.
Yeah, why? There's some alpha there. But yeah, man, that's amazing. I mean, obviously I've given tremendous advice to you because you've been extremely successful now.
It's all because of you, D. I just want everyone to know, listen to D.
And obviously, you know, you're working on your next chapter.
Yes.
Which, whatever that is, let us know. We want to hear it here first. But insane career. And, you know, design is something that like, it's a privilege to work in design.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of people believe they're creative and think they are, but like to actually have a position where you're actually making impact on design is very rare. So congrats.
Thank you, man. Thank you both.
Yeah.
It's good to continue our
15
journey.
years. I've seen you.
That's what people.
Hopefully it's another 15 years.
Yeah.
What people don't understand when I was like, why you should join the Chatty Cathy Club and why you should listen to this podcast is like, Alex has been listening for years. And I didn't even know till like maybe a year or two ago. And he's like, yeah, I've been listening. I've been keeping up. Or when he came into the studio, he was like, yeah, I listen. And I was like, oh, I didn't even know. And
the whole family listens.
Yeah.
My kid's like, Dad, can you turn off the news?
Yeah.
That's funny. We're basically like when we were kids, like watching Tom Brokaw.
Yeah. Yeah, we're basically Tom Brokaw.
But amazing. The Discord is popping.
It's amazing.
Like today, someone was going in for a big meeting, and it seemed like he wanted some motivation.
Yeah.
And the chat gave it to him, and he closed
got
the deal.
Yeah. So it's Supreme Jerky, his beef jerky brand that he has now with the Nelk Boys.
Right.
Is now in grocery stores. Unbelievable.
Great stuff.
Unbelievable.
Love the community that y'all are building.
Yeah.
Impressive.
I think people like, and you've realized it with the brands you've built, like community is like, it's priceless. When you have it, it's like indestructible. It's really, but it takes forever to build it.
Yeah. And it's not profitable the first 5 years when you're building it.
Yeah, I know that.
You just have to be.
Yeah. That part I got.
Yeah. Well, you know that, you know, they say, good judgment comes from experience and experience comes from a lot of bad judgment.
Yeah.
And so, you know,
I'm very experienced.
Me too. So yeah, you have to go through that phase of failing.
Yeah.
But yeah, once you get community, everything else follows.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, you're going to stick around. We're going to start talking some news. All right. This is it. Tomorrow's it. Basically, the rest of the year is based on tomorrow.
So the market pretty much is priced in a 0.25 basis point hike, which 2 days ago, half the street wanted 0 basis point hike. Elon tweeted yesterday he wanted a 50 basis point cut.
Which I love.
Yeah, I love that.
I like double tap that
It's
one.
one of the few times I agree with Elon. Yeah, let's get 50 basis point cut. So it's really going to be the speech. So it's 80% priced in the quarter basis point hike. You predicted that.
Yeah.
I thought they'd pause.
Yeah.
And, he's broken most of the economy at this point. So he wants to break a little more.
Yeah.
Because
One more leg.
there's
Switch the
something
leg.
we don't know that's going to be broken.
Yeah.
So we already broke the banks. I mean, Credit Suisse went under in 24 hours.
Well, they've been failing for a while.
Been
That's
failing,
not fair.
but they weren't insolvent.
Yeah.
They created insolvency.
Yeah.
And same with Silicon Valley Bank. Same with First Republic.
First Republic finally popped. Poor guys.
Yeah, but there's still no solution.
Yeah.
And
I think after tomorrow there'll be a solution. I think everyone wants clarity on what this guy is going to say. Because the two terms are, like we've explained, dovish and hawkish. Hawkish means you're going to continue to raise, and dovish is you're going to pause.
Yeah.
If he has to come off dovish.
Yeah, it looks like Jamie Dimon's just letting First Republic bleed out, and he'll pick up the pieces.
Yeah, why
that's pretty much what's going on.
Yeah. Did you
And-
see they had 70 billion of outflow in March? 70 billion. That's insane. The one day SVB had that collapse on that Thursday,
Mhm.
it was 42 billion. So it says First Republic said
Well,
7.
because they still exist.
Yeah.
So you just let it linger for another week. You're gonna have
Yeah.
a lot more than that. So I mean, it's like pretty stupid because it's just like a hot potato with where the depositors are, because you need depositors if you're a bank.
Yeah.
So it's the same deposits. It's just getting concentrated into different people.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think the administration is finally putting pressure on the Fed. Elizabeth Warren has been going crazy.
Yellen's getting more active now too.
And Powell just needs to like calm the markets down, because we already saw 2 weeks in a row that the economy could be coming to a screeching halt. Just with SVB, 1 million people weren't going to get paid 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Just one
Which
bank.
is nuts.
And we're talking about 200 regional banks that have similar issues.
Yeah.
So at some point, you have to just take a second and be like, okay, inflation is one thing, but people not being able to access their money is a completely separate thing. And then the FDIC now is rumored, all 17, 18 trillion in deposits in the US are potentially backstop.
Yeah.
What's funny about this is that if the Fed had just said, or not the Fed, Treasury, the government, administration, everyone, like, we're not going to let depositors get screwed.
Yeah.
Within 12 hours of the SVB crash, none of these banks would have had issues. The issues are the outflow.
Yeah.
Like, when you lose 70 billion in outflow, your bank's insolvent.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. We just never learn our lesson.
No, we don't, because everyone has short-term memory, and it's like
all it took was language. They didn't even have to pump the money. Now they have to pump the money.
Yeah.
Because had they just said it as sentiment, no capital would have had to be injected into these banks.
The thing I think, and we'll never know until probably another year, is really what is the real path of inflation? Like, my inflation is very anecdotal. Definitely eating out has not dropped $1. It feels more expensive than ever.
I agree with that.
My wife today, though, said, "Oh, avocados are cheap." Out of the blue. And we know eggs have dropped in price. I think grocery feels like it's finally stabilized. Median home prices went down in February for the first time in forever. But existing home sales exploded because there was a little dip in interest rates for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
We are hearing rents are coming down in some markets. Housing prices have gone down in certain markets more. Like, the inflation is still in. I think like wage inflation is a big part of it that like is causing a lot of the increase. There's no world where wage decreases from here on out because people won't do the work.
Mm-hmm.
They physically they'll just say, fuck it, I'm not doing it. So, especially on the lower end side of things. So what do you do? When will we know if inflation would have actually
just naturally come down?
Yeah, we won't know that now.
We won't. And the real fault is the Fed didn't start raising rates early enough.
Yeah.
It was this, we've talked about this ad nauseum, but it was summer of 2021.
Yeah.
5% inflation.
Yeah. I think at that point, they were so afraid still of COVID that they didn't want to rock the boat. If they just known it was a flu.
It's not a flu.
It's a form of flu.
Now it is.
Yes.
It wasn't before.
2021, maybe it was a flu. 2020, I'll give you, was something else.
2021, it was
Summer?
turning into a flu.
Okay. That was Delilah Vegas. That was a flu then.
Everyone got it right after.
That's what I'm saying.
That was peak life. I texted you guys that.
Yeah, that was peak life. Everything's gone downhill from that.
It was a fun weekend. We thought we were in the clear.
Yeah.
Markets are ripping.
Everyone thought that was the roaring 20s.
Yes.
This is what you signed up for. You're dancing in like a 1920s style bar in Vegas.
Bieber's performing.
And Bieber's performing. And you're like, wow, we really made it. We're back. And then it just fucking fell apart.
Yeah.
Everything fell apart.
Fun weekend, though.
Yeah. It was a great weekend. Good peak. It was a good peak.
If that's the peak, I'll accept it.
Yeah.
That was a great weekend.
Yeah. It's hard to peak more than that. So
That weekend, wasn't Drake there?
Well, just think about Vegas weekend, that weekend. We've talked about that weekend. It was Dave Chappelle concert
With Joe Rogan.
Who was the big boxing?
Conor McGregor. Who is boxing, right? UFC.
UFC. I think Bieber concert
Where he brought out Kid Laroi. He made Kid Laroi on that show.
Yeah. He was already popping.
No,
you just discovered Kid Laroi that day.
No, that
you
clip
had no idea who
that
he
clip
was.
was probably at 1 billion impressions
And
of
then,
that show.
And then the Delilah had their opening, and there was something else that weekend. I think it was something else, something big. Like another huge concert.
Yeah.
Garth Brooks.
That's right. At the stadium. So what is that, like 60,000
Yeah.
people?
That must have been one of the busiest weekends ever in Vegas history.
It's definitely probably one of the most fun weekends.
Yeah.
Because those are all like high-end experiences.
Yeah.
Every single one.
Yeah.
Like a Dave Chappelle, Joe Rogan concert's not cheap.
Yeah.
UFC's not cheap.
No.
Delilah Vegas definitely isn't cheap.
Yeah. And that was during NBA Summer
League. That's right.
That was also there that week. That's insane.
And Diplo was at Excess, but he's there a lot.
Yeah. Peak. That was
And
peak.
Bieber came out with Diplo at Excess.
Yeah.
It's peak weekend.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was the peak, guys.
Yeah.
At least we
luck.
got to see it.
Yeah.
Where were you when everything peaked?
My peak was November 2021.
What'd you do in November 2021?
That's when we went public, and that was Times Square. Whoa, all this work's finally paid off.
The markets were hot then.
Markets were ripping.
That was actually the market peak. November 21.
Yeah. Because March 22, it started correcting?
No, January, right away.
Oh, it's right away. Like, party's over.
December a little down, then January we fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
And then March was the low.
The March was the low. Yeah. All right. By now, I don't know who has not used car trackers. Basically, every single person I know, including our mom, is selling her car and bought a car.
Delivered.
It already delivered.
I saw it.
Yeah. What's funny is I did a chat with Ali from Car Trackers and my mom. They had 2 conversations. So then I thought my mom lost interest. I had no idea. And then all of a sudden she's like, here's my new car. And I was like, what? When did this happen?
Yeah.
It happened so quick. So I get asked for a lot of intros all the time. That's like just what people hit me up for. I've never had more people ask me for Ali's number at Car Trackers. We need to restructure our deal with this guy. I want a piece of every fucking car from now on.
Or triple the ad rate.
Yeah. No more discounts. This guy's getting paid more. He needs to buy 500 Chatty Cathys.
And he's poaching business in the Discord.
Yeah, he's like, anyone need me, holler. Probably sold 60 cars in the Discord.
Made up for his $250
purchase. Yeah. Well, anyways, if you have not sold your car yet or you're looking for a new car, hit up Ali at Car Trackers. He's in the Discord. He'll respond right away because he's flipping cars left and right. And remember, used car market's still hot. We all know it's going to be pummeling in a downward spiral soon. So if you can sell your car, do it now and cop a new one. Deals are out there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get back into it. All right. Well, here's another interesting fun fact. Money markets have received $5.4 trillion in the last, call it 2 weeks. That's insane. So basically all of these people, everyone has moved their money into money markets because it's safer.
Well, yeah, you get 5%.
Yeah.
It's really hard to get 5% right now
Yeah.
because the market's so volatile.
Yeah.
Stocks, you pick a stock, it's up 3 to 4%, down 3 to 4% every day.
Yep.
And this is a guaranteed 5% risk-free. This is why...
And liquid.
And it's liquid.
Yeah.
You get it within a day.
Yeah.
This is what, here's...
So who's making all the money on this? Because there's somebody collecting some fees. This ain't done for free.
Yeah, the banks take a little...
Rip, Blackstone.
Take a little rip.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5.4 trillion. Let's say they take 20 basis points.
Yeah. I don't know what that is, but it's a lot.
So
$100 billion?
20% of 1%.
Yeah.
So 1% of 5.4
$100
trillion.
billion.
Yeah, 100 billion.
100 billion in fees.
I'm making that up. It's probably 20 basis points.
It's got to be cheaper than that. That's ridiculous.
You think?
Someone just made $100 billion in the
No,
last...
annually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who?
10 basis points? You don't think they're going to get 10 basis points?
They're not doing anything.
They're giving you 5%.
Yeah, but that's because the U.S. government's giving you 5%.
4.9.
Yeah. That's insane. But yeah, it looks like, it's obviously getting pulled from the markets.
Here's where I struggle with the stock market in general. And like, what's the new norm? So I don't know if we've talked about zero date options.
No.
But zero date options is basically blackjack. So it's literally the day today, your options. So you can pick options. If you go on your Robinhood app, the lowest duration is 1 week.
Yeah.
So zero date options is 1 day.
1 day. That's insane.
It is $1 trillion a day. It's 40% of the S&P market volume.
So it's only hedge funds doing this.
Yeah.
In
retail doesn't have access to it.
Retail Joe does not get that.
So you have 40% of the market playing blackjack. Because no one knows in a given day. You can have a long-term view of a company.
Yeah, that's fine.
But 1 day?
Imagine if you wake up that morning and then you get like diarrhea and that's it. You lost out 100 million because you're on the toilet all day.
Well, no, you haven't traded. So I know the numbers are 40% as of the fall, but I think it's probably higher now.
Now it's more volatile. It's way better.
Yeah.
It's way better because you could rip tomorrow. Like I bet you the volatility between today, look how much the market ripped today. And what's going to happen tomorrow? Do you know how many people are playing tomorrow on both sides?
It's actually a casino now. It used to be a joke that it's a casino.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about like 40% now, probably higher. I'm sure we could Google it. But if it was 40% in the fall, it's much higher now. You're talking about over $1 trillion a day is on blackjack.
Wow. That's insane. Blackjack's hot.
I wonder if it takes market share away from casinos, actual casinos. Like, why do I need to go to Vegas? I can just lose my money in the stock market.
Yeah, I think that is a problem. Like, that's basically what was happening during pandemic. Like,
it's not even blackjack; it's high card.
Yeah,
it's Casino War, which is my favorite game.
Yeah, because it's literally like
you win or lose.
Yeah, it's
right
binary.
There. Like at least blackjack, you have to hit.
Yeah, there's one other move you have to do, and someone else can blow it for you.
Right,
like they can bust.
Zero data options is a problem. It should be illegal. Because when do you have stability in a stock market? Because I was trying to think like, I guess if Fed starts cutting, everyone just starts betting win on their options.
Yeah, but we don't know. Not everyone's playing the same side. People are playing both sides.
Right.
I don't know.
There has to be a counterparty if you're betting one side.
Yeah, I think the other issue is that...
So like to simplify what I'm saying, let's use round numbers. Let's say Tesla is $100, okay? And you can buy an option for March 22nd, which is tomorrow, that Tesla is going to be 102 or 101 or $100.50.
Yep.
And if Tesla gets to $100.51, you win. If it doesn't, it expires and you lose.
That's insane.
That's wild. How is this legal?
Why not? If you can make money, by the time Congress figures this out, the whole economy will crater. Be one trader who cratered the stock market. Some idiot will have some crazy position, and the whole thing falls apart.
I'm gonna Google right now. So a year ago, zero data options were 20% of the volume.
Yeah,
and now we're exceeding 40%. And JP Morgan published a research report last month that because of the volume in these options, it could trigger a 25% crash in the S&P in a single day if everyone's overbooked on one side.
So, I mean, so the scary part for tomorrow is everyone is expecting good news.
Zero day's hot tomorrow.
Because if
zero day is probably 60% just for tomorrow.
Tomorrow is everything. Because tomorrow, I think, because you saw with the market, everyone expects quarter bases and then him to say pause. What if he says, I don't give a fuck about your bank. I don't care about your deposits. We're going to keep raising. Those people are creamed. The sell-off will be so intense. And then it'll just exacerbate like the worst losses.
Right. I mean, look, anything's possible. What I had read about zero date options on Twitter.
You got zero date on your account?
No. I probably could.
You should get it. Let's throw $1,000 on something.
Let's make a call. I mean, the problem is market's closed.
I know. We can get it in by tomorrow morning.
6. Yeah, I guess he doesn't talk till 10 a.m.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Put all our Chatty Cathy Club funds on one zero date option. Everywhere. If it all wins, then we're good.
Yeah, go long. But like, how do we have a sustained rally or a sustained downturn? I guess we did last year for the downturn. But if between profit taking, because how volatile stocks are, and then the zero date options, I just don't see how we have a normal stock market again.
I think sentiment will change. Like you'll get, because there are big funds that will just buy equities and just sit. Plenty of mutual funds.
They still run the market.
Yeah. They're still the big, these traders are just, having fun.
There was a mutual fund in Europe that I'd never even heard of. They have $300 billion.
Yeah.
Bally, something.
There's all kinds of, it's insane. When you're looking at the shareholders of these like SVB, it's Vanguard, it's Fidelity.
So you think Citadel is all in on zero date?
Yeah. I mean, my guy Ken Griffin using ChatGPT, he was talking about that.
He knows.
He's like, we're licensing it to move faster.
Yeah, it's better code.
I mean, the fact that he's using it already, that should tell you every business should be.
Did you see Sam Altman's quote?
No.
It's like, I'm getting a little scared how fast this stuff's moving. Yeah. This is why it was supposed to be a nonprofit.
Yeah. Thanks, buddy. He's going to be the 60 Minutes 6 months from now is going to be amazing.
On what?
How it all went wrong.
Yeah, it'll go wrong quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, ChatGPT effectively ended any college, high school paper.
Yeah.
Who's writing a paper?
Yeah.
An essay. You just eliminated a portion of education.
There's a ChatGPT that scans to see if ChatGPT wrote it.
Ari told me there's a hack to that. You just keep running it through different AI products and it can't source which one it is.
Okay, explain.
So you have ChatGPT
I hope Ari's
write
professor's listening.
So first of all, this is all theory.
Yeah.
I don't do any of this.
Okay.
So if you run
this is why you want to go to law
prompt,
school. You found a way to fucking cheat through it.
You run a prompt through ChatGPT and then you throw it into another program that just like scrambles words, finds like synonyms, things like that. And then those AI detectors don't know at all. Like they can't find it at all. Simple.
Okay. Yeah, it's not. That's nothing.
Yeah, it's similar to like performance enhancing drugs in sports.
You wash a couple different.
The drugs are always ahead of the testing.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to be AI will always be ahead of the testing.
Yeah.
What's going to happen to like, what are humans going to do like creatively? Everyone's going to be a creative?
No,
You're in a good position, Alex.
Lucky. Yeah, I think
You can't AI creative.
well, you can. I think you still have to be creative to get the most out of the AI.
Right. So there's still an element of creativity.
Yeah.
Like I will never be able to match a real creative, and even if I put in the prompts, because I am not creative enough to put in the right prompts.
Yeah. Maybe. I think that shit goes, it'll know, oh, this guy's not, he's a dummy. Let me help this guy out a little bit more.
This thing get better and better.
Yeah, because there's creative people putting inputs into it.
Right.
So it's tracking all that.
It's a great part of the process. The technology might get somewhere in 10 years, we can't imagine it, where it could potentially replace everybody. I mean, the first people that are going to get replaced is anyone that's using cognitive thinking.
Yeah.
Data
Yeah,
scientists.
the hardest jobs are going to be the people that like do manual labor.
Yeah. They'd be like, damn, that guy's a millionaire. What does he do? Oh, he picks up lumber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fixes
He's a-
toilets.
Yeah. The new billionaire is a toilet guy. Because guess what? AI can't clean up shit.
No, AI hasn't figured out that stuff. That's long from
Yeah,
now.
like for a robot to come into your house and clean the toilet, that ain't happening.
Or fix the plumbing.
Nah. I'm doubling down on toilets.
Double down on manual labor, because that's pretty much what I see is like the only thing safe, because it pretty much, the way we're trending and how quickly it's been, what has it been, 4 months, 5 months? And we're seeing all these use cases, like papers are done. We eliminated a big part of the US education system.
Yeah.
Like no one's, like all we had was Spark Notes and Cliff Notes
Yeah.
to like not have to read a book.
Yeah.
Now we don't have to read the book, we have to write the paper, you don't have to do anything.
You don't have to do anything. Literally nothing.
And so if you think like further out, almost like we're talking, it's a white collar wipeout, because most white collar jobs, unless you're a relationship person, everything else can get automated.
Yeah.
The relationship's the only like last like sacred thing, because you have to get the contract or the gig or whatever.
Yeah.
Like someone has to be friends with your boy Sam Walton to do Walmart's M&A acquisition.
Yeah.
But everything else from the M&A process should be automated.
Oh, do a model.
A DCF model, do
Yeah.
this, do that.
Yeah.
Here's a PowerPoint deck. Here are the synergies.
Yeah. Everyone needs to have a good personality and know how to clean a toilet.
You have to be a relationship person. It's honestly like, if you just think about it, like a few years out, if you don't have the right relationships, you're pretty much not valuable to a company,
Yeah.
regardless of what sector you're in.
Yeah.
If you're in apparel, you need to know the factories that can actually like
Make it.
because everything else should be automated. Design should be automated.
Yeah. Give me a hot shirt.
Like think about
Literally, the shirt's hot.
one
Let's put it in right
creative
now.
director. One creative director can eliminate 100 designers.
Yeah. Like doing a tech pack can easily be done.
As the expert in the room and someone that is probably gonna have to, face this, you could probably eliminate half the team with what AI can do.
That's what AI can do today.
Yeah.
What about in 6 months?
Yeah.
I think what design schools are going to start teaching, hopefully, is actually how to work with AI as part of the process.
Do you know when they're not going to do that anytime soon? We move like snails in the education process.
You know what's crazy?
for
If
sure.
like if you think about how quickly we've all seen the graphs of like 0 to a million users, whatever it took, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and then this was like a month.
100 million users.
Yeah, 100 million users. And I think of it even crazier in the sense that how it became mainstream dialogue.
Yeah.
This new revolutionary technology. Every single
Everyone
dinner
knows
table,
ChatGPT.
kitchen table, doesn't matter
Water cooler.
water cooler, doesn't matter where you are. It's not the coast, it's
No.
everyone.
Yeah.
And the last big technological breakthrough was crypto, which was 2008. It took till 2017 for it to be in the mainstream where people actually talked about it.
Yeah.
It was talked about in like weird trading, like, oh,
no one
Bitcoin-
talked about it. Yeah.
Yeah, but like when you go home for Thanksgiving, it was 2017 Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
where everyone's like, what's this Bitcoin thing?
Yeah.
AI was fucking 6 months.
Now everyone's AI.
That was 9 years.
This Thanksgiving, let me tell you what everyone's going to be talking about. Why we should ban AI by this Thanksgiving. That's how fast the cycle will be.
You think it peaks and boom.
Boom, done. We're peaking too early. Everyone's talking about AI. AI is going to create the next trillionaire. No, it's not. The guy that has the plumbing business is going to create the next trillionaire.
So
The richest man in the world sells luxury leather.
yeah.
Why? Because AI can't recreate Dior. Just can't.
It's still, it's the chicken poultry manufacturer. It's the long haul trucking guy.
Yeah.
There's
It's
not a
the
robot
retailer.
slaughtering chickens.
No. That
Still
they
need-
could probably figure out.
Someone-
Give a robot a knife. I'm sure it's going to get ugly sick.
That's how Terminator starts.
Yeah.
I think they'll be a lot more protective, at least regulatory bodies, in terms of like that AI, the hardware AI,
Yeah.
because it gets scary quickly. Even
Yeah.
in society.
We should ban it. Like, unless it's like a warehouse automation flow, like, I don't think we should be trying to like eliminate every fucking job for everything. What is everyone gonna do all day? Jerk off?
That could be automated too.
That is easy. So you literally do nothing. Well, I'm just like, what do we? No one's going to read anymore if you could just go to ChatGPT.
No one's reading ever again.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure like all the Reuters articles, they were already AI.
Yeah.
Those are just like stock.
Yeah. There's no insightful information in any of those press release Reuters type.
Yeah. That was before this.
Yeah.
Who's going to work at a newspaper
Who reads the newspaper?
or whatever, a news site?
Yeah. That's the easiest to spit out. I mean, I guess you'll want to read opinions.
Like I would think,
I read a lot of opinion pieces.
yeah, I guess the Substack folks, maybe the last journalist left,
Yeah.
but they're reading opinions about AI generated content
Yeah.
that could be false.
Could be. Insane. Speaking of AI, Google launched theirs finally. I joined the wait list. I haven't been able to get on it yet. It went live. Bard, Google CEO tweeted out. So I just signed up for the wait list. I haven't used it yet. I saw the demo. Similar to ChatGPT. But, Google's they're just like late to the race.
They were
The
late.
Copilot on Microsoft Excel and Word and PowerPoint, the demos I've seen are so sick. Like the power that they're going to add to Excel, like that feels like where we should be spending our time and energy from an AI standpoint. Not just trying to eliminate everything.
Yeah, Google.
You can eliminate your husband.
I'm sure a lot of people would love to.
That's next. Get an AI dad.
Coming.
Yeah.
I saw a pitch deck for it.
So it's Y Combinator right now.
Yeah.
Their batch is graduating.
Yeah.
Y Combinator is the most prestigious. It's the Harvard of startups.
Where Sam Altman started.
He didn't start it. Paul
But he-
Graham started it.
but
he
he
was
was
running it.
yeah.
Yeah. And the startups that have come out of it, Airbnb, Dropbox,
Everybody,
Coinbase, like it's crazy. Their track record's nuts. I'm seeing a lot of the decks now.
All AI.
Everything's AI.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what the industry is.
Yeah.
Middleware AI. What does that mean?
That means nothing.
That means 4 on 30. That's not the valuation.
Yeah. Oh, they're back to 4 on 30s now?
4 on 30s.
That's it. So
Everyone's 25 to 30 and there's
so just so you understand what we're saying is it's $4 million raise at a $30 million pre
Mhm.
valuation.
Yeah.
All because you're
AI.
23 years old and at YC. No work experience probably for none of these people.
And you're seeing 2 at 25, 4 at 30 was the most egregious I've seen so far. I'm looking right now.
I mean, 2 at 25 is absurd.
Absurd.
And you have nothing. You just have AI in your deck.
Correct.
How does everyone fuck everything up so quickly now? I'm telling you, by the end of this year, everyone's going to hate AI. You're going to be so frustrated by it. because it just becomes like such groupthink. So that means no one actually believed in Web3. They just wanted to raise money.
It's probably a good time to start building on Web3
I agree.
because it's going to come back.
Yeah.
I know it's thinking about it.
No, I think it's good time to be building a plumbing business, a roofing contractor.
Yeah, someone's got to fix leaks. Do you
Yeah.
know how many roofing contractors
Roofing
in LA?
in LA is probably booming right now.
For sure. It's never rained like this in years.
Yeah. I'm going the other way. I don't want to do anything with internet or technology. That's what I would invest in.
Yeah.
You got 2 hands?
But you don't get
I'll give you 1 on 10.
you don't get four on 30.
I mean, you got 2. You can be like, look, we have 30 hands. 30 hands? That's worth 30 million. Each hand's worth $1 million.
I mean,
Everyone
these
gets
decks,
options in the construction company.
Yeah, exactly.
these decks that I'm seeing from the YC batch, they're using words to just confuse the shit out of investors.
Pernicious.
It is pernicious. I'm going to try to find one. I'm not going to say the company's name, but let me see.
What's the word?
Cloud native observability. What the fuck does that mean?
It's made up. That's fake.
They're just trolling you.
I think they are.
Yeah.
Cloud native observability?
Yeah. It means nothing. It literally means nothing.
How much are they raising for cloud native observability?
4 on 30.
Booming.
If you want 4 on 30, just cloud native observability.
You got to come up with a big word if you're going to raise money. That's a big part of it. You need a big phrase. Cloud native observability. That is fake. Everyone's going to burn AI to the ground. It's insane. Cloud native observability is the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life.
I've been in tech adjacent for 15 years. The one thing that it took me the longest time to understand was crypto. But then once you actually like read about it, you can figure it out. But cloud native observability, I'm never going to figure out.
No one is. Because it's not real. Fake. It's not true.
Do you have more belief in Databricks or cloud native observability?
I have more belief in plumbing. I'm so long plumbing right now. It just feels like that's a plumbing, roofing. And by the way, you could charge. Think about it. Similar how like you sign up for some cloud services, you have no idea what the price is, you don't know what they're doing, and you get overcharged. You do a plumbing. If let's say it costs a plumber to come $200 to go fix your toilet right now, would you pay $250?
For sure.
Exactly. There's so much pricing power in something like that. Oh, you're going to have shit clogged up in your house for the next week? Or are you going to pay me $250?
You know, when
you have AI for toilets?
No. When we had Mav's birthday, there's obviously a lot of kids.
Yeah.
You obviously were there.
Yeah. A lot of shit.
And I paid a plumber $500 to sit on the curb in his car just in case something went wrong. Because think about what a disaster that would have been.
Yeah.
With that many kids, that many people, someone...
Well, like flushes down a diaper or something?
Yeah, I don't know. Plumbering.
I mean, imagine if you could
Plumbers
just go
on
around and
standby.
say, we're on call at parties for $500. 99% never do anything. There's probably 10,000 parties happening in LA a day. What do you do? What is this, a $2 trillion business? That's my YC.
Cloud native observability.
Yeah. We're so native. We're native. We're literally across the street. We're sitting there waiting for you.
Toilet native observability.
That is what it is. It's really toilet native observability. We're observing your toilet natively.
Yeah, and it's funny when I've gotten to know him now, and he sent me the Venmo.
Yeah.
I was like, "Were you even here?" Because he didn't knock. He just kind of
He's
chilled
like,
out.
I was native.
He was native, and he took a picture of his car. Like, I'm here.
Yeah.
I was like, all right. Sent him the money.
$500 for how many hours?
It was like 5 hours, $100 an hour.
I would advertise those services. You should have a plumber
Standby.
standby. If shit hits the fan, boom.
Do you think you could get into YC?
Yeah, I would go in there. I'd go in there with the full outfit. Be like, look, guys.
I mean, they're trolling
This is
you.
how it started. How many of you guys took a shit today? Everyone's raising their hand. Tam, everybody. Oh my God. Toilet addressable market.
This is a brand, not just a service.
Yeah.
It's definitely a Western world because there's still not a lot of toilets in the third world.
Yeah, that they don't need observability on that. You're just going wherever you go. I mean, you know the solve for clogging? Why don't they just make a bigger hole? Has anyone ever thought about that? Just make a bigger hole.
But the thing that was different about what you're seeing in tech today is they're trying to confuse you so you don't understand what they're building. And even in crypto, the biggest crypto people would try to simplify it like, hey, this was what we solved. Like Bitcoin solved the most basic thing and like the most simplest way. What Bitcoin solved was you can send things digitally without double spend, meaning you can track what everything's being sent and it's being recorded. And you can't just be like, I'm sending a fake dollar here, a fake dollar there. It's all trackable.
Yep.
And people explain that, but no one's explaining the shit that's coming out now.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't think anyone can really explain AI very well. Maybe there's like a handful of people in tech.
It's artificial intelligence.
What does that mean?
It's artificial.
Who's making it then if it's artificial?
The cloud.
There you go.
Yeah.
But we need to observe it.
All right, moving on. Last topic. Big news in Los Angeles. The LAUSD is completely shut down right now.
For 3 days minimum.
Minimum Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. My guess is spring break is also around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe next week or the following week. It's obviously around teacher pay. I was driving down on Fairfax today, South Fairfax high school teachers protesting. One of the big challenges of the big school districts, specifically Los Angeles and New York, and I think San Francisco as well, lost an enormous amount of students over the last 3 years. Some to homeschooling, some from leaving the States, some to going to private schools or independent schools. And then maybe some people just stopped sending their kids to school, period. Who the hell knows? But like, I think public education is in this weird like crosshairs where like there needs to be like real innovation because it's so important to the city to like one, like how many people at LAUSD require on the food provided to them?
Mm-hmm.
So many kids require on a meal.
Remember I gave that stat, 100 million meals during lockdown.
Yeah.
Were provided by the LAUSD.
Yeah. So
to their
like
students.
Food is an issue. Childcare is an issue. Like obviously education is an issue. And like, we're just coming off of like 2 years of basically not getting properly educated. And I'm not saying the teachers don't deserve what they're asking for. I don't know all the nuances of what's happening, but like, man, LAUSD seems like it's going to be a really interesting challenge to turn around.
This is one of those things when you think about how much excess spend in other parts of the state and the city, this should be a no-brainer. You backstop it.
Yeah. Just give whatever.
This is the bedrock of society.
Yeah.
For Los Angeles.
Yeah.
If you think about how many millions of kids are being educated, how many millions of families are affected, and then obviously the teachers that are working, you have to make it an environment for the teachers to feel, I'm getting my wage at market.
Yeah.
And they clearly aren't. And the rippling effects, even these 3 days, like, think about how many latchkey kids there are. Like, parents have to still go to work.
Yeah. And
Do
what
you
are
have
those
like
kids going to
12-year-olds
do?
running around the city?
Yeah.
That's exactly what's happening.
Yeah. And then nothing good comes from that.
Right. So,
Yeah.
You have to get your priority state. Like, where's Karen Bass? Is she involved in this?
I mean, it's her city.
Like, is she not making a statement?
Yeah. I mean, you shouldn't have even let this get to this point. And I think the challenge is
Because
that
we're products of the LAUSD.
yeah.
And it's something that's super important to us because that's where we were educated. Like, we got lucky that we got to go to very good public schools, but unfortunately, many public schools aren't good.
Yeah.
And if you don't start with training our society at that age, we're going to pay for it in 10 years when those kids aren't educated properly with the proper discipline and the proper instruction. And then we're going to see increased crime. You're going to see increased homelessness. You're going to see all this stuff.
The secondary impacts are so big that no one ever takes into consideration, and which ends up costing us more money. Give the teachers their fucking raise and not deal with crime because the kids are undereducated or the teachers are apathetic because they don't care about their students anymore because they're like, this is just, I'm underpaid. Why should I care?
That's what a lot of foreign countries have figured out. Like in Dubai, for example, if you are a Emirati, so there are very few Emiratis, but if you're an Emirati, your education's free.
Yeah.
And the government backstops the schools that are teaching these kids. So, I mean, that creates for a better society.
Yeah.
You know what crime is in Dubai? It's negligent.
Yeah.
There's no crime.
Well, probably point to other reasons.
There's other things that are going on.
Yeah, threaten that.
No, I'm saying you can walk through. You can walk in Dubai at any hour of the night and not be afraid of getting robbed.
I mean, I was saying this about China today to someone. I'm like, I've walked pissed drunk through Shanghai by myself at 4 a.m. and never ever been afraid. I would never do that.
But it starts here.
Yeah.
Like, think of how many kids are going to be doing bad shit this week because their parents still have to go to work.
Yeah.
And there's no one watching them.
Yeah. Terrible.
It's kind of misplaced, right? When you think about what are the taxes that we pay in California, it's the same as the Nordic countries. It's the same as UK, 50%, 51% in taxes, right? Federal plus state.
53 is the highest.
Yeah.
And we have these kinds of issues that those countries don't. So why? Why are there so many levels of bureaucracy where it's all getting squandered?
Oh, it's a joke. The spending of the of state government. I mean, if you think about California, record rainfall, and we're just dumping all the water because we have nowhere to store it. No one thought about it for the last 30 years. What happens if we have 1 year of rain that we should store it? No. Why would we? What are you worried about? AI. AI is going to eat our lunch.
Yeah.
Start a water storage business.
Yeah. Water storage and plumbing. All right, everyone. Incredible episode. Alex, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Come back when you have more news to share.
Will do.
All right, Cathies. We'll see you back here on Thursday.